Welcome back, mates. Thanks for the visit. So, the New York State Athletic Commission forced Jake Paul to fight a real boxer. Paul's previous opponent, Tommy Fury, had some technical issues that prevented him from touching down upon American soil. Jake Paul was considering replacing Fury with a low-level MMA fighter. Once again, the story goes anyway. But now he'll be facing Mr. Hasim Rahman Jr., who is considered a real boxer. Alright, quick peek at Rahman Jr.'s stats. He's 12-1 and 0 with a 46% KO ratio. Hasim is the son of retired heavyweight boxer Hasim Rahman Sr. As the story goes, Rahman Jr. sparred Jake Paul. They had some type of beef after the sparring session. You know the usual shit-talking, posturing, and ready to throw blows. And the end result of that session, we have a scheduled match between Jake Paul and Hasim Rahman Jr. on August the 6th. This is obviously a step-up fight for Paul because Rahman is considered a real boxer and not the usual retired MMA fighter or retired NBA player. So this might be considered Paul's first real test in pro boxing. But will it be the fight and opponent that can provide Paul with what he needs to be considered a pro boxer instead of a YouTube boxer? Rahman Jr. is 31 years old with a mere 13 fights. Did he start boxing late? I highly doubt that, seeing that he came from a boxing family and all. Maybe he's just casual about his boxing career. I don't know. It would appear that Rahman Jr. is not a top-tier fighter and is easily hit. Most of his opponents are relative unknowns. When last seen in the ring, Rahman Jr. was stopped by James Morrison, son of heavyweight boxer Tommy Morrison. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Rahman Jr. cannot box. I'm just saying that he appears to be a tailor-made opponent for Jake Paul to make the crossover to fighting a real boxer. Yep. Jake Paul gets a lot of heat for not fighting real boxers and not being a real boxer himself. So with this fight, there's a great possibility that with a victory, Paul can shut some of his critics up once and for all. But keep in mind, even if Jake Paul was not a YouTuber and a so-called real boxer, he still would not have started his career by fighting highly ranked and experienced boxers. He would have most likely fought subpar boxers so that he can learn on the job and also get some confidence building experience on the job, which is quite the normal approach in boxing. Jake Paul also gets a lot of hate from the boxing world. You see, real boxing fans are very protective of their sport. Jake Paul took the express route to get his boxing career to the point it is at now. Jake Paul did not have an extensive amateur career like most boxers do. He did not start his career on a low-budget boxing card. It did not take years and tons of fights to get where he is in boxing now. And a lot of the fans resent him for that. But the haters still pay to watch him fight, win or lose. Although experience plays a great role in the outcome of fights, I don't think Rahman's experience advantage will give him the edge. I think Jake Paul's desire to win will be greater than Rahman's. I don't think this fight will be based on skill and skill levels at all. I think it'll be based on heart, desire, and he who possesses the better cardio and punch resistance.